All right, welcome. Brian Mitchell here. I am with Taylor Gillespie, and we are tasting Willamette Valley Vineyards Pinot Noir. This is their estate Pinot Noir. Our current vintage is 2021, and it comes from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. So the winery is actually called Willamette Valley Vineyards, and they are from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Taylor, have you ever been to the Willamette Valley? Ever been to Oregon?
I haven't. I know they're Pinot Noir, and I know they make great stuff up there, but I've never been.
So do you know maybe some thoughts on to why the Willamette Valley is a good spot for growing Pinot Noir?
I feel like it's kind of the terroir, like anything. It's that climatal thing where they have really hot summers and really cold winters, which stresses the fruit out and makes it taste great.
Yeah, you're kind of getting onto the right points there. So the climate in Oregon is a little cooler, certainly than it is, say, in California, because you're a little farther north, and Pinot Noir likes cooler climate. And one of the things that I always like to point out, and we can start taking a look at this wine, color-wise, it is kind of this like bright ruby red, right?
Beautiful.
And the other thing is we can actually see through it. So if you hold, say, a piece of paper with some text on it and you look down through the wine, you can actually see right through the wine. You can almost read it. Often when we have wines like that, they're going to come from a cooler climate because the skins don't get so thick, right? It's not going to deliver so much color into the wine. But aromatically, put your nose in the glass, what do you smell? I mean, it kind of jumps out of there. I can smell it.
Very bright.
Yeah. Lots of, well, you tell me. What do you smell?
I'm getting fresh cherry. I'm getting a little bit of raspberry. Maybe
really,
some spice notes.
Yeah, really bright red fruit notes, raspberries, cherries, things like that. And then spices. Spices is kind of like it's an encompassing category, so I like to try to get a little bit more specific. Anything come to mind? We were talking about this a few minutes ago.
Maybe some clove.
Clove, yeah. So maybe like baking spices. So,
yeah.
So maybe some cinnamon, some clove, kind of that nature. And that's going to be a hallmark for Pinot Noirs. When we look at high quality Pinot Noir from regions like this, you do get that beautiful expression. Reviewing the tasting notes, they use a little bit of oak to manufacture. When they're making this wine, only a little bit of that oak that they use to age the wine is actually new. So it's not really going to impart a lot of oaky flavors like you might get in, say, a Cabernet that's been in newer, higher percentage new oak. But that oak is really kind of help complement some of that spice, as well as allow the wine to sort of soften and round. So when we put it on our palate, how does that feel?
Delicious.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I think
That's
actually, for me on the palate, I get a little bit more of that, maybe a little bit of oak influence, because I get a little bit of vanilla, I get a little bit of toastiness that's sort of wrapped around all that cherry and red fruit that we were tasting before. How does that?
It's nuanced. I mean, it's not fruity by any means, but it's still there. It's again brightness. The body's beautiful. It's rolling around my tongue and
yeah. Yeah, I think what you said is nuanced. A way I might put that is it's very well balanced. A wine that's balanced is going to have elegant components of fruit, of spice, and flavors and aromatics things, but also the textural components. On the palate we get a little bit of acidity. Helps. My mouth is almost watering a little bit,
which is great. I love that in American California red wines. They miss the acid component so much.
Because it's a little bit warmer climate.
But it's so nice. It's there. Yeah. It's bright. It's lifting.
Well, you work with a lot of cocktails, and when we build cocktails, we're putting acid in those. When we build dishes with seafood or salads or whatnot, there's always like a lemon or some other kind of acid component, like a salad dressing, that might be there. And having acid in wine such as this is a really good, it makes for a really good food and wine pairing combination. So just give some thoughts like,
duck breast, some pork chops maybe. Yeah. Open grilled meats, of course, mushrooms, like earthy vegetables.
Earthy is really good.
Like ramps, truffles, in the ground stuff would be amazing with those carrots.
A little bit more savory kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff is great. So I would say the mid-level meats, the mid-weight meats, things that aren't overly charred or intensely spiced. So like I will throw salmon in there because it is Oregon, so we got to talk about salmon a little bit. But the pork, the duck, all that kind of stuff is great. More delicate cut of steak or something. And I think all that earthy stuff and the root vegetable kind of dishes that you talk about would be awesome with this wine. I can't say enough about this particular wine, and how it feels and how it tastes, because I'm still tasting it on the palate. Just a little backdrop on Willamette Valley Vineyards. This winery was actually started in 1983, so pretty early on in Oregon as far as winemaking goes, and actually vineyard productions. So a good amount of history. They've just kind of passed last year. They just kind of passed their 40th anniversary. Vineyard was put in by Jim Bernau, who's still with the winery. He still kind of leads things, and just producing some really great stuff. And we come back to Willamette Valley Vineyards on a somewhat regular basis. We do features and dinners with them. But yeah, I would say when you're looking for pretty killer Pinot Noir, this is a great stock. All of this is estate fruit, by the way. They came out of that first vineyard that they planted in 1983, and it just absolutely delivers. So.
No, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you know, when it's a summer day and I can find myself just kind of drinking a little red wine and it's like satisfying, I'm not feeling, I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
It really
yeah, especially
is.
if you don't want to get tagged down, like we were talking about that California kind of style where it's a little fuller, you know, big Cabernet, maybe more tannin and whatnot. This is just delicate on the palate. It's balanced, it's elegant, and yeah, easy to drink. So thank you.
Delicious.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Crush that.